Hi guys, welcome to
Hiya.
e.l.f. Show Live. We are here in the head offices this afternoon taking a look at the ever gorgeous 100-piece eyeshadow palette. This is a palette that has been around for many, many years in the e.l.f. cosmetics world, and it has been a huge must-have season through seasons. So we're going to take a look at this one today and show you the wonderful combinations and eye makeup looks that you can create. As ever, I'm joined by the wonderful Hannah Jenkins from e.l.f. Store Cardiff.
Hi guys.
She will be demonstrating swatches and fabulous look on our gorgeous model Adele, who joins us this afternoon as well. So there are plenty of us here to showcase these wonderful products for you this afternoon. Now, as ever, we want to know what you think about this product. So if you have it, or if you're thinking about purchasing it, let us know what you think. Maybe send us in photos or blog reviews or anything that you have about this palette we would like to know. Now, Han, have you had this palette in your life recently? Have you been
I
using
bought this palette before. I don't know those of you who know my history, but I started with the company 6 months ago, and this is probably the second product I bought. The first one's a primer, of course.
Of course.
Crime not to prime. So that was the first thing I bought, was the eyeshadow primer. And this was the second thing I bought because I'm a makeup artist and outside of work, I do create looks. And this book here is a fantastic way to start. You've got 100 pieces, so 100 eyeshadows that work out at 15 pence an eyeshadow when you break it down from £15.
Amazing.
As a makeup artist, that's amazing. Sorry guys, I just touched my mic, I just realised. I got excited. Yeah, and so you've got all the colours that you would need, and also you're able to mix these colours really easily. The payoff is fantastic as well. As you can see, it starts off from the lighter, which is from here, and it goes all the way down to the darkest, which is down here. So it's almost like a spectrum of colours to play with. And I studied colour really intently during my university degree, and for me this is like
a dream.
Just the dream palette to have. It's so fantastic because not only do you have the matte shades, so they're straight away, you've got like a block of colour, it's Pantone, you can just create like one flat look. You've got your satin iridescent shades, which you can create like a spectrum of colour, you know, so you get different types of payoff. Listen to me get excited about colour.
I know, because
it's my favourite. Anything to do with colour I love. And then you've also got like a satin coverage. So satin shades are ones that are slightly iridescent on the surface, so they give you like that shiny glossy top, and then underneath you've got that dull tone base, so you get like more of a spectrum of colour. So
like
it's
a multi-dimensional tone then.
Yeah, a multi-dimension. Yeah, the graphics guys getting all excited because I'm talking about colour as well. That's
we love layers. We love layers.
Yeah,
that's the great thing about this palette. It's like obviously trends go from matte to shimmer to sheer to wash of colour, and this one has got a little bit of everything.
Everything that you need in this. You've got something for every season and every trend. This palette could last you such a long time, so long as you get yourself like a brush cleaner, for instance. Right, that is what I do after every makeup that I do, because it doesn't damage the products or the quality of the eyeshadows at all. I spritz it directly over, so it's like an antibacterial sanitizer. Bacteria is killed.
Beautiful.
So then you're not using or feeling like you need to get rid. You're just sanitising the surface, ready for the next use. You should always do this when you're doing makeup anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
On other people, on your own, it's not so necessary. Just spritz it once every 3 months because bacteria starts breeding after 3 months.
I tend to do that. I've had this product for coming on to 2 years, don't judge me.
It's okay, you've probably spritzed it.
Well, that's the thing, I've got into a habit, because it's one of these that I tend to get out if I'm going for my non-normal day makeup look. So I'll get it out, use it, create a little bit, something a bit different, and then it goes away for a couple of days or maybe a week until I'm you know, going for my night makeup look again. So I just get into the habit, just having a little spritz, and then it's...
Can't you get in the habit by using the lighter shades? So use the lighter shades from this thing.
Well, that's the thing, is I've got so many different e.l.f. products that I'm kind of like obsessed with at the moment. I go through stages, so I just love this product. It's one that is always... It's my like go-to. When I'm getting creative, I'm like,
is it your bottom drawer? So you get your bottom drawer out, and in there for me, it's my mineral blemish kit, just in case. You gotta be on watch. Got a bit of blend.
Gotta be on watch.
Yeah, so I pop that. That's always in my bottom drawer. And the palette. I use this one. There's 2 palettes you can get in this range, by the way, guys. There's a marble palette kit, and there's also this 100-piece palette kit. anyone that you choose is going to be a fantastic choice for you, because you've got 100 pieces, £15, that's 15 pence like an eyeshadow.
It's amazing. It's fab. Now, the one question that we always get asked about this product is the pigmentation and the colour payoff of the products. Should we do a couple of swatches?
Should we?
Let's take a look. Now, if you have got your eye on this product and you would like to win one, as ever, you can enter a competition on our Twitter channel. If you retweet the tweet this afternoon with the link to the show, you'll be entered into a competition to win this, and also the competition to win the jumbo lip gloss sticks, which will be coming up later on. So if you have got your eyes on this and you do want a treat from us, then make sure you enter that competition. If you can't simply wait, then you can head over to eyesipsface.co.uk and treat yourself to that product now. But yeah, come on then, Han, let's have a look at some swatches.
Okay, so you have matte tones. So by matte tones, I mean flat colour, so there's no iridescence to this. It just gives you a block of colour, which is a colour like this here. And if I do this with the light, oop, lid closed. If I do this with the light, you can see the difference in the tones.
Yeah.
So you've got something like that, which is more of a flat tone. You've got something like this, which is an iridescent, and you've got a product like this, for instance, which is like a satin. So it starts off like a shim, like you've got a bit of shimmer, a bit of colour, and then it goes like a three-dimensional colour, like I was talking about before. So it's a really versatile range of colours. It would suit everybody. You can also use like an eyeshadow primer, to enhance these shades. So I like to use an eyeshadow primer because, again, it gives a great base to your eyeshadows. It gives you malleability with the product.
Yeah.
So you can play and you can blend really easily without too much work. And then I also like to set, believe it or not, as a makeup artist, I set with a powder over the top, and that is in our mineral range in e.l.f. So that just keeps it all on. You know it's not going to move. So it's a bit like when you do it on your face. You would prime, foundation, and set powder. So that's your routine with that. So even if, say, you did a green and a blue eye look, you would set with e.l.f. over the top of that then? Yeah.
That's a fab tip.
And it's purely because when you're doing things like to camera, or you want photos taken of yourself, it just gives you that added dimension to the eyeshadow, and security, so that when your photo's taken, it's photo perfect. That's the difference.
In the age of selfies, you need to be photo perfect.
Yeah, everyone's doing the whole selfie. So yeah, that's how I like to do it when I'm on set, or if I'm doing makeup in the store. And it's just a nice little, you know, 3-step product routine of your self-program, like we do in the store. You prime, you put your colour or your pigment, and then you set.
Perfect.
Yeah, so it just gets you into a habit of, 3 simple steps. And I do the same when it comes to eyeshadows. If you're a newbie, I would never go further than showing you 3 eyeshadow shades. Just because you've got all this doesn't mean you have to use all of them. You can come back to it when the trend in the season comes to it. Like purples are in this season, oranges are in this season. So you've got the combinations down here in order to utilise them to make the most of the seasonal trends. It just, I think it's a really nice set to begin with. And if you section it, and if you do like, say the 3 combination there, there's a 3 combination there, you don't feel so scared by this palette. You either love it or you're daunted by it. And it's a way of breaking it down into sections in order for it to not be so scary and more achievable. Because that can be daunting to somebody who's not like colour friendly.
Oh yeah, completely.
It's like, oh my gosh.
I know the first time I had it, it was like, I'm like, right, I'm just going to stay over in this brown area here where I live. And then every now and again, I'll now experiment, especially this time of year, experimenting with the purple. You know, I'm mixing it up a bit, but following your rule of using the 3 colours as well. Yeah,
using the rule of 3 is never a bad way to start. And if you're scared of using 3 colours, I would say use that 3rd colour like an eyeliner. Because then, and that could be your pop of colour. So if you're scared to change your routine, then use a pop of colour in order to make more of that, to enhance that look. Yeah. So you're getting a bit daring, but you're not going all out. Much. Yeah, and it's great for those who wear glasses. just to let you know, guys, I can't hear anything in my ear, just to give you all a heads up.
It's all gone quiet in Han as well.
Yeah.
This is what I found as well, because it's amazing how a little splash of purple can really bring out the colour in your eyes, or a little splash of orange, because I do play it safe a lot, but I wear glasses from time to time, and that's a tip that I got from you, is using it across the bottom line, and you think, actually, I'm going to put purple across the bottom eyelid. Well, hang on. But it just brightens everything. It just lifts
exactly.
it
And if you're wearing glasses, your eyes are framed. So look at where my hands are. So that's basically like where the frame is. You see my under eye liner. Yeah. You don't see my top liner. You'll feel like it's isn't that hilarious? I look like an owl.
Beautiful. You look
but it does. That's how it is. So if you imagine you've got that over the top, you'll see that pop of colour underneath. I'll just do a couple of swatches just so you can see. So I'm going to start off with the safe colour, a golden shade, and I'm not using any primer. So this is just alone. Look at that payoff, and that's without a primer. So you can see already that that's such a strong pigment. Now, if I describe the texture to you, it's kind of like a fluffy, fluffy texture. It's light. It's it's light. It's fluffy. I can feel it's soft on my skin as well. So it just is a nice, easy start of product.
These palettes, they don't feel powdery when you're using them, which is what you do come to expect sometimes. When you see a big palette, you think quality might be a little bit compromised, but it's not. You do get the creamy, the soft, the pliable texture like Hannah's mentioned, and that's what's lovely about these, is that they're really easy to blend, easy to wear, so you can create gorgeous blended colours. Now, if you're a novice like me.
Well, what you'll sometimes find as well is if you don't use a primer, this is just a little tip for you, if you don't use a primer, it feels more powdery. You get like 50% less payoff than you would do if you used a primer.
Right, okay.
So the payoff using an eye primer gives you a better intensity. So when I say payoff, I mean the quality of colour. So if I just use an eye primer, I'll use the silver.
Let's take a look.
I'd advise using like one without a tone in it, but this is what I've got to show for the moment. So this is a good idea if you just like getting used to products. So this is just using the silver from the eyeshadow primer cream that we've just demonstrated. I'll use the same two colours. So I'm using like a purple shade. Look at that difference. So it's above and it's already on there. But you can see, sorry, I'll just show you, Amy. You can see the difference. Look, there's less fallout. So fallout is when the powder is loose and has nothing to lock onto and therefore will fall. It prevents that. So it locks it on and it just gives you the longevity that you need. So it gives it the length of time that you want to have it for. So however long you're going to wear it for, it's going to stay there. I'm going to use the golden again, so you can already see it there, and I'm just going to place it over the top here. Oh my gosh, that looks lovely. Actually, nice colour combination.
That's what's quite nice actually, of using it over the silver primer eyeshadow there. You've got, because when you turn your hand there, you can see sometimes it's more silver toned, then you've got the gold, almost the yellowy, and a little bit of green undertone there coming out with the golden colour there. So that's really lovely actually.
So if you're scared, you could just use a cream eyeshadow primer, so in the ones that we demonstrated on a previous show, and then you can just use two to play it safe.
Fab.
Okay, so I've used basically two colours there that were a shimmer, so more of a glittery, intense colour. You can see where I've placed it here, so you can see where my finger's been. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a flat tone over the top. So by flat, I mean matte.
And what kind of colour are we going for?
I'm just going to go for the lightest shade there.
Nice.
I love it. My nails, in my champagne nails. Gotta have a bit of champagne.
Champagne finds its way into Hannah's life in one way or another.
Look at the difference in that. So you can just blend so easily. And because you've got the primer, when you blend, it doesn't go dirty. You don't get that muddy shade.
No, exactly, and that looks fab because you've just, over the pink, over the purpley tone, the plum tone and the gold there, you just get that wash. Just lifts the whole colours completely down.
And then if you want a bit more intensity, you can just build. Do you see? So nice and easy, and that's just 3 that I've swatched there, using a primer which has got already a cream coloured eyeshadow in there. So you've used 4 colours there without feeling too scared and overwhelmed. You've made that palette now accessible to yourself. Exactly. It's not so daunting.
It's looking at it in those little colour combinations that you see in the palette.
Compartmentalise.
Exactly. That's what we want.
That's all we're doing.
We've swatched some of these lovely colours. We are joined by the wonderful Adele, who's going to be demonstrating these. Should we try a couple of these? Create a fabulous look on Adele?
I know that there's a blog, just before I go to Adele, there is a blog available that I think that you showed me before where they have been swatched.
Everyone.
All over.
Within an inch of its life.
I love
Within an inch of its life.
So exciting.
That is a fabulous blog by the lovely Charlotte over Looks to Be Loved, and that is of the marble palette. So we will be tweeting that one out as well, because that does show the products in a wonderful light.
But things like that, you can then see all the colours, and then you can think, oh, that's what it's going to look like.
Exactly.
What I would say, just go with the trends of the season, stick to the colours that you know, and just choose one different colour for the trends of the season. That way it makes it less daunting.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Step by step, baby steps. Now we'll take a little look at the product images that the wonderful Nick has taken of this product while Han relocates over with Adele. It's worth mentioning that our wonderful customer service team, and Rachel in particular at e.l.f, has been busily creating, with the help of Naomi, our graphic designer, a fab colour wheel, which is our guide to colour combinations this season and every season really. We will be tweeting out a link to that blog post today and for the weeks to come. For this is your Bible to the colour combinations. So if you are a little bit like, oh, I don't know where to go with this colour, what kind of outfit am I wearing, what kind of eye makeup am I wearing, this is going to be your absolute guidebook for this summer and autumn winter. So we will be tweeting that out. Make sure you go over and have a look. And I wanted to say a special thanks to Rachel and Naomi for creating that masterpiece. It is absolutely fabulous. I'm certainly using it in my day-to-day already. So it's a trusty little tool to have in your makeup bag or on your computer. Now, I did mention that you can be winning this product if you go over to @e.l.f. Cosmetics UK and retweet the link to the show. That will also enter you into a draw to win a set of jumbo lip gloss sticks as well, which we will be looking at later on today. Hannah is just going to set up with Adele now, and we'll be joined shortly. If there's a particular colour in the palette that you've spied that you want swatched, let us know and we will do our best to swatch that for you today. And if we can't do it during the show, we will be doing it afterwards on Twitter and on Instagram. And I'm pretty sure the girls at the e.l.f. Store Cardiff will be able to help us with that as well. They are absolute pros when it comes to swatching. So we will be taking a look over at Hannah and Adele now, and we'll see what wonderful look she's going to create.
Hi guys, and welcome to just a little demonstration that we're doing here with Adele. We've already put the base on Adele's skin today, so this will be a great base to have a look at how to create this eye look. I'm going to be using the Sultry Satin from the show from previous, and this has got a cream eyeshadow and primer in one. So it'll give you a little bit of a rough idea of how this product will look when you combine it with 3 shades that I've got Adele to choose from the collection today. So Adele can go out after work, maybe. So I'm going to be applying the Sultry Satin cream eyeshadow primer using the concealer brush, because it is like a flat base. It's like a trowel all over the eye area, so you get a great surface area. So this will be a nice subtle look. I'm going to be using 4 other brushes as well today. So I'm going to be using the eyeshadow C brush, I'm going to be using the contour brush, and then I'm also going to be using the small angled brush. So those are the 4 brushes that I'll be using today. So really easy, really great, straightforward brushes to be using, and they'll give you a great finish to your eyeshadow. If you're in doubt about what brush to use, just use a concealer brush and a C brush if you're a new starter, okay? But I'll talk you through this step by step, so it's really easy and accessible for you to do and repeat when you're at home, so it doesn't feel so daunting. So I'm going to use the concealer brush first. I'll place these on my book. I call it the book. It's an eyeshadow palette, but I call it a book because it's like a book of colours. So I'm going to start off by applying this onto Adele's eye all over, and this is just the primer on its own. So just doing a light wash of colour. Like I said before, primers are fantastic because they lock on the colour when you load it on with the eyeshadow pigment. They'll give you like a foil-like finish. And really easy to use. So that was just using the concealer brush and an eyeshadow primer with a bit of colour in. I'm then going to use the C brush to apply colour, and I'm going to apply this in blocks of colour. So I've got e.l.f. to choose colours already. So I'm going to just angle this so that you guys can see at home what it is that I'm using. Can you see that? So I'm going to be using the colour combinations, 3 colours I've got e.l.f. to choose, which is this one here. So if I just point to that one there. So we've got this shade here, which is like a light golden shade. We've also got a matte tone, which is like a khaki colour, like a greeny khaki colour. And then we've got a brown combination just down here, and that's like a middle taupe tone. So I would, by looking at those 3 there, I've got the lightest, the middle here, and I've got the darkest there. All right? So light, middle, and darkest. So I'm going to start off by using the lightest tone first. Lightest tone first, so I've loaded up my brush and I am applying this over the eye area and on all over the eyelid. So I'm just gently patting, I'm not blending, I'm just patting on. That's the first one. The second one would be the mid-tone. So the colour that you would consider in the middle of the lightest and the darkest. This I'm using on the other side of the brush, and I'm placing directly over the eyelid, all over.
You can really see the colour payoff with that on e.l.f.'s skin. Works fab, especially with a primer.
Okay, I then put that brush down. I then pick up another brush, and in this case I'm using the contour brush, and then I'm using the darker shade. So I'm just gently pressing in, and I've got a bit of pigment. I've just loaded a little bit of pigment onto there. Now this is like the matte tone. It doesn't really matter, it's just the darkest. And where you can see I've put the darker shade, the 2 tones there, I am literally just placing this just in the corner there. I've done no blending, I'm just applying. If I want it a little bit darker, I'll pop another bit of colour on.
That looks great.
Look how simple that was. It is really achievable. If you're using 2 brushes, it becomes achievable, it becomes easy, and it becomes accessible for you at home.
Would you say one of the key points with this kind of look, Hannah, is to just take your time and build the colours gradually?
You could do, yeah. I think the key is actually if you use the right tools and if you use a primer beforehand. So for me, I always prime, I then load it up, and then I'll blend as the last thing that I do. And I usually blend when I'm using the buff to set. So it becomes like almost like a satin wash of colour. Look up for me, e.l.f. So I'm using now the small angled brush, and I've just loaded it with the darkest shade here, just on the tip. Look up for me, e.l.f. And just gently buffing along the base of the lash line. Again, we talked about glasses earlier. We're looking at just like a nice, simple, you know, a little bit more than casual, a bit more formal look for during the day. But look at that, I just think it's just lovely.
We have had a comment from Leanne saying that, well, basically just saying pigmented. So I think she's in agreement that these products are fab for colour payoff, the shades in this palette.
Look at that, so simple and so easy. Doing the same again, if you don't mind closing your eye for me, e.l.f. And then just lifting the eyelid. But because I've put the eyeshadow primer on, you can put your finger on there. Look, there's nothing coming off on my finger. So if I put my finger directly on the eye, there's nothing coming off. Just literally putting a bit more colour on there for her.
Hannah, Leanne is asking, how long would the shadows normally last when used with a primer?
I would say for as long as your day lasts, okay? So really easy to use. you don't get any creasing, you get the payoff on your eye, of the colour on your eyeshadow, of your eyeshadow on your eye. Sorry, combination of words. Yeah, and it stays, and you get that extreme payoff for, like, I would say up to 8 hours. Sometimes I don't even have to top up or anything like that for if I've started the day. So when I end the day, I just pop a little bit more colour on. So if I'm going out, I'll add another colour to the mix. And because you put a primer on, they don't go muddy. You can use a combination of colours and they stay clean. Unless you start chucking like a load of brown all over the top of it, I find they stay really clean for much longer than what you would do normally if you didn't use a primer. It just makes the colours mix easily, give you a really easy base, and then your eyeshadow just looks fab. I just think it looks really pretty, and you just get a soft finish. Sorry, I'm just going to angle so I can see. Look up for me. So I'm just placing a little bit using the angle brush just on the inside of the eye there for Adele. Close your eye for me.
We've just had a message from Kitty Radford. Hi, Kitty. She's saying she's watching whilst doing makeup. She's being adventurous and using the blue of the palette as well.
Amazing. Wow. See, that's what I like to see. It becomes achievable because we're not using so much. Yeah, it's really easy to use, really accessible and achievable. I'm just going to use the same brush now, and I'm actually using a brown eyeshadow from the palette just through the brow here, just to give it a bit of definition. So it could be any brown, it doesn't really matter.
We know Adele's got fabulous eyebrows as well, so she makes your job very easy for you.
So I'm using 2 shades to create like that HD brow, which is so popular at the moment. So just using a mid-brown, and then always remembering to use a slightly darker colour. It could even be a black if you wanted it to, but not overusing it. Always put a bit of darker colour just under on the inside here. And all of a sudden, you've got a bit more of a HD brow.
Fab.
Camera, if I just angle you to camera for a second. And then I can just, if I'm going out, I'll put a bit more of the darker colour underneath here. And she's hot to get out on the trot. Look at that.
That looks
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Close your eye for me. I'm just going to pop a little bit of colour just on the inside there. And I'm going to be really, really makeup arty here now. I'm going to use a blusher brush. So a blusher brush using a pinkier, peachier tone. Just as a blush.
That colour actually looks fab on Adele. Very nice. This kind of shows the versatility of this palette as well, is that if you have a little play around with it, this could be a perfect one to take away with you then, wouldn't it? Just pop it in.
But don't forget, pigment's pigment, whether it's for eyes or for face, it really doesn't matter. You're going to be using a combination of colours and it's still going to like look lush and flush. You know, I'm just going to use a little bit of a lighter tone from the eyeshadow palette. Again, just using the same eyeshadow palette. And I'm just going to use it like a highlighter here. Just remember, try and choose like an iridescent satin tone. So you can create a bit more of a lighter tone. Just on the cheekbone. So you can give it a little bit more of a highlight. You're then creating that lovely chiseled cheek effect. So that's just on the top there. See if I can get you to angle to camera for. So just on the top there. And then I'm going to use a slightly more of a brownier shade. And I'm just doing a bit of contouring here. Just in the hollow of the cheek. Again, it's an eyeshadow. Really easy to create such good looks with just using this same palette. It doesn't just have to be an eyeshadow palette. It can be a colour palette. And then it becomes more interesting if you're an artist.
Looks fab. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, obviously, as Hannah mentioned previously, this palette is available for just £15 from islipsface.co.uk. And at the moment, if you are shopping in April, when you spend over £15, you will get 2 free products in your order. So it's a perfect time to treat yourself. I did already mention, but there are competitions available this afternoon. So if you pop over to Twitter and retweet the link to the show, following at e.l.f. Cosmetics UK, getting all tongue-tied, then you can enter into the draw to win this palette, as well as enter into the draw to win a set of jumbo lip gloss sticks as well. So there's plenty of things to be getting your hands on this afternoon. Now, as I mentioned, we're also going to be looking at the jumbo lip gloss sticks and doing some swatches and featuring the lovely e.l.f. And Hannah is just rejoining me now on the sofa. And we're going to obviously we've got colour combinations coming out of our ears with this palette, so we're obviously on hand for any swatches or any kind of combinations that you want to see for now, for this afternoon and over the coming weeks. So make sure you tweet either at e.l.f. Store Cardiff or at e.l.f. Cosmetics UK, and we're all on hand to give you some swatches or give you some colour combination suggestions. And also we have got our colour wheel on the blog as well, so you can be creating your own and sharing those with us as well, because we always like to see how people get creative. As Hannah mentioned, this is the kind of perfect product if you want to get creative. You know, look at it as through an artist's perspective, see what colours you can use maybe as a blush or as a contour. You can really get a little bit creative with this one. What we're going to do now is wrap up the 100-piece palette. We will be back shortly with the jumbo lip gloss sticks. I don't know what's wrong with me this afternoon. And we'll be taking a look at those. We're going to just cut to some images and we'll be back in around 30 seconds. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in.